8 students dead, 1 injured in Kebbi pit collapse. Fresh crisis in APC as another APC faction suspends Ganduje. Workers in Jos drum support for minimum wage of 615,000 naira. And on the international scene, 180 bodies retrieved from Khan Yunis mass grave in Gaza. A very good evening and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. I'm Sagir Ibrahim. We'll begin tonight's bulletin with some news about a tragic incident in Kebbi State where a pit collapse resulted in the loss of lives of 8 young persons and left 1 student injured. The pupils from the Malam Dan Umar Quranic School were tasked with excavating clay and gravel near their school premises to repair holes, unaware of the impending danger. Dan Umar, the school's proprietor, confirmed the developments to newsmen. He says the local community, shocked by the accident, has called for increased safety measures to prevent such tragedies in the future. Now, residents have expressed disbelief over the incident, highlighting the need for vigilance and precautionary measures. Authorities are considering implementing stricter regulations with the possibility of banning excavation activities on hillsides to prevent similar occurrences. Zayanu Sankar, the special advisor to the governor Nasir Idris on pilgrims' welfare, acknowledged the need for immediate action and pledged to address the issue to prevent further loss of lives. Also, the management of Plateau State University, Bokos, has taken the difficult decision to close the university temporarily following the tragic killing of a student by gunmen. The closure, as announced in a statement signed by Registrar Yakubu Ayuba, will last for 10 days. This decision comes in the wake of escalating violence, with 3 people, including a student, being killed during an attack on Butura community in Bokos Council. The recent incident adds to the tension following previous killings in neighboring communities between Mangu and Langtang local government areas of the state. In response to the unrest, students staged a protest, which was quelled by personnel from Operation Safe Haven. Now, the closure of the university aims to mitigate the security risk faced by the university community and allow for improvements in the security situation. As a result of the closure, ongoing first semester examinations have been suspended and are set to resume on Thursday, 2nd May 2024. And now we circle back to the first story on the bulletin, talking about the unfortunate situation which led to the loss of 8 young lives in Kebbi State. We have joining us via telephone Ishao Adamu, Daily Trust Regional Editor, to give updates on that situation. Ishao, welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. Please, can you give us an elaborate explanation of what happened, what transpired, in Kebbi State, especially because the reports seem to not have all of the information?
Yeah. Good evening, Abdullahi. What exactly happened was that there is a local Quranic school in a community called Badaria in Kebbi State Capital, that is Birning Kebbi State. This school, like a normal traditional Quranic school, which they normally migrate from one place to another. The teacher of that school migrated to the bad area with his students, and they are staying there for a very long time now, and is close to a hill called Duku Hill. So his disciples used to go to that hill and get some firewoods and some sand for their buildings and what have you. So on Sunday, they went there, about 10 of them, because the incidents involved 10 people. They went there as usual. Unfortunately, the sand collapsed on them, and 8 people died instantly. 2 were injured and were taken to hospital. Unfortunately, the other one of the 2 people that were taken to hospital had a serious injury on his spinal cord, and he eventually died. And the other one sustained fracture, who is currently receiving treatment in the hospital. So that is exactly what happened. So all in all, 9 people died and 1 survived. And the state governor has directed that 2 million should be given to each of the affected families. And according to a reliable source, the money has been given to the affected families. So this is what happened.
Isho, thank you so much for the updates there. However, what are members of the families also saying? Have they made any comments so far since the unfortunate incident occurred?
No, they are right now in a mourning because they mourn their loved ones. In this kind of situation, you hardly get a comment from somebody that is in a serious situation like this one.
Isho, what about investigation? What are the authorities saying about investigation? One would expect some sort of reaction from, say, thankfully the state government has moved to, award these families with 2 million naira. But what about the police and investigating what happened?
Not only the police, even the government has warned the general public to desist from going closer to that area, because they have clearly stated that area is not meant for excavation, so the people should not even go near to the place, not to talk of excavating the sand for other usage. So this is what the government is saying about the incident.
Isho Adamu, Daily Trust Regional Editor, thank you so much for joining the news hour tonight. Do stay safe, and definitely we'll touch base with you as more events develop.
Thank you so much.
Moving on now, workers in Jos, the Plateau State capital, are actively backing the Nigeria Labour Congress in their demand for a minimum wage of 615,000 naira. On speaking to Trust TV, the workers expressed their frustration with the lack of action from both state and federal governments to address their salary concerns. Trust TV's Ado Musa completes the report.
The Nigeria Labour Congress recently made public its proposal for a new national minimum wage of 615,000 naira, which will mitigate the current economic hardship and high cost of living in the country. Several workers in Jos, interviewed by Trust TV, emphasized the necessity of a salary increase to alleviate their financial struggles amid Nigeria's challenging economic conditions. They highlighted their inability to cope with the current economic realities on their current wages, highlighting the urgent need for a rise to improve their standard of living.
The level of inflation in the country, and then the skyrocketing of price of goods and services in the country have increased. So based on that, I am in support of what Labour is trying to, or is proposing to the federal government, to pay the average civil servant. Because of the inflation. And then day by day, if you go to the market, what you buy today, and then if you go back to buy again, it has increased.
Is the agitation of labor is indeed fair. Why? Because it is an undisputed fact that there is inflation in Nigeria, and the workers are mostly at the receiving end. Businessmen are usually increasing the price of their goods, invariably competing with other competitors to survive the inflation. While the workers' salary remains stagnant, going the same market with these businessmen, whereby many of them could not put food on the table. Why? Because the meager amount, their salary could no longer sustain their needs.
Other respondents who are not salary earners share their views on the ongoing national debate about the minimum wage.
If the salary of the workers increase, the workers will be purchasing more goods. because now due to the inflation, now the inflation started reducing. The workers start purchasing things higher than before. The argument from the part of the labor is a valid one. Naturally, periodically, the government of the country should check the excesses in the country and the level of inflation in the country, and be able to see how it can readjust the salary of its workers, which will affect the whole larger community. I think if the formal society, the formal sector is paid well, and that will relieve the government of so many burdens, and it's going to help the society to reduce crime, hunger, and even alleviate poverty in general. Children can be able to go to school, and most family can fare well. And by so doing, I personally, as a self-reliant or self-employed somebody, will be able to see the money on the street, because there will be cash flow into the economy, which will help my business, and I will fare well.
The tripartite committee set up to review the national minimum wage is still navigating preliminary negotiations, which will present the government with an agreed amount. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Elsewhere, families and relatives of victims of a stampede in Bauchi State are calling for urgent intervention to cushion the impact of the loss on orphaned children. A stampede broke out during the distribution of food items to vulnerable groups, leading to the death of several people. In this report, Adamu Imam speaks to the orphans left behind, unable to make ends meet. Take a look.
On March 24, 2024, 53-year-old widow Hassana Adamu died in a stampede during a charity event at the AYM Shafa head office. The stampede claimed 16 lives, predominantly women and children, and left many others with various injuries. Among those affected are 13 orphans residing at Dus and Tenshi Mountain within the state capital, whose lives have been upended since the loss of their breadwinner.
After the death of our mom, actually I found it difficult, because she was the one taking care of us. She was the one giving us food, shelter, education, health, and whatsoever. And today, she's no more.
We can barely afford 3 square meals a day. Getting food once a day now is a struggle, but we thank God no matter the situation. Even the one time daily we have to struggle to get and eat. Some of us are living here, while some are staying with family members.
Nafisa expressed the burden of responsibility on her shoulder as she now cares for her younger siblings. Despite graduating from the university as a microbiologist, she remained jobless and appeals to the government to provide her with employment, if not for herself, then for the sake of her younger siblings.
Shapa sent his representative for us. So they came, they visit us, they paid condolence to us, and they sympathized us. Then after, they gave us something like sack of rice, 2 sacks of rice, and millet. Then they gave us 250,000 for us to manage.
Hassana, until her passing, was not only a widow but also the breadwinner of her family, supporting all of them. She left behind another 5 children from her late co-wife, as well as 3 grandchildren from her late daughter, all residing at the top of Dus and Tenshi Mountain. Following the death of her husband, Malam Adamu, in 2014, after a prolonged illness, she took on the responsibility of providing for the family through various small-scale trades and meeting their other needs. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Well, there you have it. Also, no fewer than 30 cows have reportedly died after allegedly consuming poisonous grains in Kwara State. According to an eyewitness, the cattle were brought out for their routine grazing from Mandate Market to the School of Arabic and Islamic Legal Studies when the incident occurred during the weekend. One of the owners of the affected cows, who simply identified himself as Mr. Olugbon, explained that he received a call that the cows were falling down while returning to Mandate Market. Another herder, Ismail Ibrahim, said other affected cows have been treated and kept under watch. The Babaloja of Mandate Market, Murtala Tambariku, while reacting to the development, described it as unfortunate. Meanwhile, a group known as the Kwara Monitoring Group, in a statement by its coordinator, Dan Musa, alleged that some of the dead animals were being slaughtered and distributed out to butchers to be sold. On his part, the State Director of Veterinary Services, Abdulatif Olugbon, said the ministry had commenced raids of illegal vet and meat premises to ensure the safety of the people. He warned members of the public not to patronize illegal meat selling points, disposing meat at a cheaper rate. And in politics now, the political turmoil within the All Progressives Congress in Ganduje Ward, Dawakin Tofa local government area, Kano State, escalated as another faction yet again announced the suspension of the party's national chairman, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje. This announcement came after the ward's legal advisor, Haladu Gwanjo, had previously declared Ganduje's suspension, citing alleged corruption and other misconduct. However, the state branch of the party swiftly intervened, suspending the ward executives for their roles in the suspension. The party's ward chairman, Ahmed Ganduje, reiterated his support for Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, expressing satisfaction with his leadership. In a surprising turn of events, another group claiming to be the legitimate executives announced Ganduje's suspension once again. The secretary of this faction, Jafar Ganduje, alongside 11 other executive members, attributed the suspension to alleged anti-party activities and failure to pay statutory dues. They also accused Ganduje of contributing to the factionalization of the party at the ward level, tarnishing its reputation. The conflicting suspensions underscored the deep divisions within the APC in Ganduje ward, highlighting the challenges facing the party at the grassroots level. And meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress in Kano State has once again labeled the recent suspension of the national chairman of the party as another case of impersonation. The secretary of the party in the state, Ibrahim Zakari Sarina, made this known while speaking to our reporter. Sarina said it is still a case of impersonation sponsored by some elements who were not legitimate executives in Ganduje ward. While acknowledging some of the said ward executives to be party members, he said they were not executives and did not hold any position in the party at any level. And the Ondo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has condemned the All Progressives Congress governorship primary election in the state, describing it as an anticlimax of mockery of democracy. In a statement signed by the State Publicity Secretary Kennedy Cantu Peretti, the opposition party alleged that election did not hold in many of the centers where it was scheduled to hold. It also claimed that there were reported cases of violence in Akure South and Okitipupa local government areas where political thugs had a field day. Meanwhile, the APC has announced that the exercise will continue soonest. Also, Senator Kabiru Marafa, a prominent member of the All Progressives Congress and coordinator of the Tinubu Shatima 2023 presidential campaign in Zamfara State, has responded to the Minister of State for Defense, Mr. Bello Matawale, regarding his comments on Northern Elders. Matawale had described the Northern Elders Forum as paperweights and a burden, to which Marafa countered that the Northern Elders are neither burdens nor insignificant. Senator Marafa emphasized the need for Matawale to focus on listing the achievements and contributions of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu rather than making derogatory remarks about Northern Elders. Marafa stressed the importance of supporting President Tinubu's efforts to address various challenges facing the nation and urged Matawale to withdraw his statement and apologize to the Northern Elders and Northerners in general. Also, an unspecified number of people were on Sunday morning reportedly burned to death in a ghastly motor accident at Aloma in Ofu local government of Kogi State. An eyewitness told newsmen that the incident involved 2 buses and a trailer which collided in the front of Aluma Teachers College, leading to a fire that burned all occupants to death. An articulated vehicle that was parked near the place of incident also caught fire in the process and was burnt to ashes. A resident of Aluma said they were yet to confirm if there was any survivor. However, he said the villagers could not do anything to rescue some trapped passengers due to the absence of firefighting equipment. The sector commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Samuel Ayedeji, said he was in a meeting when contacted over the incident. Kogi State Police Command's Police Public Relations Officer SP Williams Aya was here to respond as at press time. Elsewhere, Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State has provided food palliatives and non-food items to over 25,000 households in the Gajiram community of Nganzai local government. Additionally, he distributed financial support totaling 25 million naira to the residents. The governor stated that this ongoing assistance aims to address the food crisis facing communities affected by insurgency in the state. Trust TV's Bitrus Kurutsi has more from Borno State.
Over the weekend, more than 25,000 families in Gajiram community received food and non-food palliatives from Governor Zulum. The distributed items included bags of rice, maize grains, wrappers, and cash totaling 25 million naira, all shared among the households. Governor Babagana Zulum emphasized that this gesture aims to alleviate economic hardships and, more importantly, support communities whose livelihoods have been affected by insurgency threats. He clarified that the government's intention is not to foster over-dependency on palliatives, but rather to provide necessary assistance to those in need. Additionally, the governor expressed gratitude to the federal government and the Northeast Development Commission, NEDC, for their support in providing food palliatives to the state.
But now that the crops were affected by pest and lack of rainfall, and now the rainy season is approaching, we need to support them so that they should have the strength and energy to go to the families. And that is why we are investing in this town now. About 10,000 male heads of rice household are receiving 25 kg bags of rice, 25 kg bags of rice. And about 15,000 women are receiving a raffle of 5,000 each. That is why we are here. But I want to acknowledge the receipt of 15,000 bags of rice from the Northeast Development Commission. So these rice that we are giving out now is from the federal government of Nigeria.
Alhamdulillah, we're happy. We people of Gaza, we're very happy for his coming to Gaza. You can see, we encourage him to go back. Also, he said he might see tractors, heavy inspection, about 10,000 people have been from this marriage, and 50,000 women have been from this marriage. So we thank His Excellency.
Literacy center, digital literacy center in all the 27 local government areas of Borno State. Today we are here to commission one of them in Cathedral headquarters of the local government to the glory and benefit of this community. This will never happen.
Meanwhile, the governor inaugurated Gajiram Information and Communication Technology ICT Center, equipped with internet facilities that can accommodate 300 trainees. He also inspected 3 ongoing projects, which include the remodeled General Hospital and Mega High Islamic Colleges of Gajiram and Gajigana communities.
Let them do a very good job. The officials of the ministry and the contractors and engineers will sit down at a later date to evaluate the work done and ascertain whether there is a need to top some amount in favor of the contractors or not. But I think this is one of the very good work that is ongoing.
The governor said his administration will liaise with the National Board for Technical Education to ensure program certification for those who complete their studies in the ICT Center. Bitrus Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
Watching the news hour on Trust TV. Coming up shortly. Define stereotypes in pursuit of a dream. After the break, the story of Adeyemi Fatia, the female mechanic. This and of course many other stories when we return. Join us again. Thanks for staying with the news hour on Trust TV. Now a recap of the top stories again. 7 students dead, 1 injured in Kebbi pit collapse. And fresh crisis in APC as another APC faction suspends Ganduje. To other stories now, motorists in Katsina State say they now spend hours on long queues at filling stations in order to buy fuel, a situation many describe as artificial and deliberate. Checks by Trust TV News reveal that most of the filling stations remained closed, while those selling the product are selling between 800 to 820 naira per litre. From Katsina, Abdullah Yamadi now reports.
For Katsina residents, the prolonged hardship occasioned by fuel scarcity, inadequate electricity and water supply in a country where majority are low-income earners is gradually becoming unbearable. At the moment, motorists in Katsina spend almost the entire day under the scorching sun and excessive heat, trying to fuel their vehicles despite an additional increase in the price of the commodity. Prices of petroleum products vary from one filling station to another, with marketers saying there is no fixed price since sales is controlled by market forces. One thing that is real is that Katsina residents are seriously feeling the pain and are being stretched unduly.
It's very, very unfortunate. They are causing artificial scarcity. Despite the increment in the price, they refuse to open their pump to sell to consumers. It's very, very unfortunate.
So depending on how you got the products. At now we are selling at 775 naira per litre. As we heard, the government is trying to crash down the official pump price. That's why some of our marketers are afraid to produce the products because they don't want to lose.
Already, Katsina residents who have been suffering from acute shortage of electricity are beginning to abandon their vehicles, with many businesses relying on petrol collapsing. In the same vein, inter- and intra-state transport fares have significantly increased in Katsina, causing serious concern to residents. This hardship was caused by insinuations that the price of petroleum products may crash. This is making marketers afraid of getting new stock with the old price for now. We have been experiencing this for the past 4 days.
Passenger na korafin an ƙara mai kuɗin mota, direba na korafin an ƙara mai kuɗin mai.
Kindly tell the government that enough is enough. Our revolt may not augur well for the leaders. This artificial hardship was deliberately created, and we think there is a political undertone to this. The earlier the government intervened, the better. Public commentators are advocating immediate government intervention to save people from falling into another economic crisis due to the artificially created fuel scarcity by few individuals. Abdullahi Yamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Residents of the 1,000 housing estate in Bauchi State have urged the Education Authority to construct a fence around the sole government primary school located within the area. The appeal comes after they intervened to prevent miscreants from encroaching on parts of the school premises. Erecting a fence around the school would not only secure the premises but also benefit the host communities and beyond by ensuring a safe and conducive learning environment for the students. Trust TV's Adam Wiman monitored the development.
In an effort to safeguard the assets of the entire community of Gidadubu Housing Estate within Bauchi Metropolis, residents expressed concern over unknown individuals who claim to be on the premises of the primary school to fulfill a mission assigned to them by the State Basic Education Authority. However, members of the community were skeptical of these claims and later discovered that the individuals were not working towards establishing a skill acquisition center for the community's benefit as initially stated, but rather to serve the interests of a specific individual. This revelation has prompted the community to remain vigilant and ensure that any development initiative genuinely serve the collective interests of the residents.
Some places that was mainly for school or was mainly for public usage, and the government have left it for the use of the community, and some certain class of people have taken it away to make it for personal usage. So why we stop them is because we believe that those people that came in here, it was just a pure 419.
I think the most important thing now is for the government to fence the school so that it can be secured and the safety of our children guaranteed. Perhaps that will address the excuse people use to encourage the school premises. I hope the governor will hear our appeal. Gidadubu community leader Baba Wazir Melambu and school-based management committee member Ahmed Mohammed expressed their concern regarding the situation. They emphasized the need for swift government intervention to prevent future attempts by unknown individuals to illegitimately lay claim to the school land.
Land of primary school whereby our grandchildren will get education. But some people are bending always to harness that land without any reason because of selfish interest.
Whenever similar things comes, they should contact the community leader, the SBM officials, and LEA, SBEP, so that at least you compare all these people. But no any primary school teacher or headmaster will have a power to come and show a place to a non-people that give them this place that they are going to work for them.
The primary school in question has faced numerous attempts in the past, dating back to its inception in 2005 by various individuals seeking to exploit the premises for their personal agenda. Despite these challenges, the community members have consistently stood firm and resolute in their commitment to protecting the integrity of the school grounds. Their steadfastness highlights the unwavering dedication of the community to safeguarding their educational resource for the benefit of present and future generations. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Elsewhere, farmers and herders in Nigeria's southwest region took a significant step towards resolving conflicts by signing a peace pact aimed at fostering stability and promoting food security. Segun Dashaolu, representing the Commodities Farmers Organization in the southwest, and Usman Ingelzarma, president of Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MACBAN, signed the agreement at a summit held at the International Conference Center, University of Ibadan. Emphasizing the importance of peace, both Dashaolu and Ingelzarma stressed the need for harmony in the region and across Nigeria. The signing ceremony was attended by prominent figures such as Rashidi Ladoja, former governor of Oyo State, and the Otun Olubadan of Ibadan land, and Folashade Tinubu, Iyaloja General and daughter of President Bola Tinubu. An security flag officer commanding Eastern Naval Command, Rear Admiral Said Akinwande, has called on international oil companies operating in the ENC jurisdiction to seal off disused oil well heads or decommission them. He made the call during an interview with journalists in his office in Calabar over the weekend. He said the call became necessary for environmental reasons and to enable them know which wells are still operational for security reasons. Some of Nigeria's most productive oil installations are situated in the ENC zone, with the Navy's presence providing security cover for them. Akiwande also called on the IOCs and governors of the Niger Delta states to extend more support to them to keep their platforms afloat. The Navy boss disclosed that the cost of Medicare and maintaining crews and ships they arrest over illegal oil activities have become prohibitive. And the Lagos-based female mechanic Adeyemi Fatia Tinubu has been speaking on the challenges she faces for venturing into a trade that is seen as a predominantly male vocation. Tinubu, who shared her time with Trust TV's Aishat Momo, says despite such challenges, she is committed to fulfilling her dream of making the best of her job. Take a look.
Adeyemi, a young and talented female mechanic who decided to take up the male-dominated job out of her passion for the profession, narrates how her journey started in the industry and the challenges that come with it. The young mechanic recalled that her career started during one of the holidays in secondary school, adding that since then, she has not given up on her dreams of being a competent mechanic.
I wanted to be an engineer, but was an aeronautical engineer. So I said, it's only one university that is studying, that is offering this course. So I just said, let me switch to being a mechanical engineer. And where my mom works, there is a mechanic village near the place. I said, let me start from somewhere. And then I was in SS2. When we were on holiday, I resumed there. I did my holidays there, and when we resumed after my SS3, I returned back to the mechanic yard and I continued. From there, I went to school. I finished my ND, and I'm still doing it because that's my passion. That's what I love doing. It's my safe space. I love being an engineer.
She also spoke on how mechanics are faced with the risk of buying counterfeited spare parts, dealing with lies from customers, and buying expensive automobile parts, amongst others.
We have in this automobile industry is parts. Being able to get a good part that is not counterfeit part. All those parts, sometimes you get parts, they have factory error, factory default, or you get part that does not even fit directly to what you want to do. Or maybe you are with a customer and the customer might be lying to you that this is what is wrong with it. This is what is wrong. You have to talk your way. You have to talk. You have to do all this stuff before you can hear the truth from some customer. But that is not a major problem. This is a minor. That one can be fixed. But we just want to beg the government to make this economy a little bit easier for us because the rate of dollar is getting higher day by day. For we import these parts, and anytime we go to the market to get a new one, it's increased. When you buy something this amount today and you get to the market the next time and you get it at higher rates, it's not good, and it's bring down the quality and everything of this.
Adeyemi, who urged Nigerian youth to remain focused in the pursuit of their dreams and not relent until they are achieved, however, called on the federal government to come to the economic aid of its citizens to enhance productivity and reduce the burden of unemployment.
And there you have it. Also, according to the World Health Organization, no fewer than 280 million citizens around the world live with depression, with America accounting for no fewer than 50 million. Of this number, the WHO says 700,000 die from suicide due to depression. With a biting economy that has thrown many into hardship in the country, Trust TV reporter takes a look at the level of depression among Nigerians vis-a-vis the cost of living and what can be done to avert it. Here's the report.
Depression is a common mental disorder which involves a depressed mood or loss of pleasure or interest in activities for long periods of time. Sources say recent deaths in Nigeria and the world at large have been the consequence of depression. With a plethora of problems that many Nigerians at the moment face as a result of dwindling, there is a likelihood of a surge in depression among Nigerians, irrespective of age, status, religion, or gender. Just last Friday at Darlington area of Makolo in Ibadan, a 56-year-old man was found dead in his room, with relatives and co-tenants saying he died of depression.
I saw him last week when I just arrived from Lagos, and we greeted, and he didn't tell me anything. It was my wife that was telling me why we were coming, that he had typhoid, and he said he has treated typhoid, but with the situation of things, it was not typhoid that killed him. It was discouragement. He was highly depressed.
He told his children to meet him at a place where he usually meets, but when they got there, he was nowhere to be found. The children were disappointed, but I told them not to be sad. They went back there still, he was not there, so I decided to go to his house to check on him. When I got there, everywhere was already smelling, and I went upstairs. I didn't see anyone, except the little kids playing downstairs. When I knocked the door, I saw someone on the ground. The corpse was already giving off bad odor. I quickly called his younger brother. That's how I found him.
Since I know him, he used to go alone. No talk to anybody, just live as it's only me. So, this morning, we just heard that his wife came here in the morning. He said that he called him yesterday. He didn't hear anything. The phone is switched off. This morning again, the phone is switched off, so he decided to come.
With depression taking the lives of 50 million Americans annually despite their stable economy, many are left wondering what could be fueling depression there. A wellness expert, Miriam Ike, explains why people fall into depression.
We need to, have more access to mental health services, promote mental health, so that people are even eager to go into the field of mental health. We should also build and have support systems.
Stakeholders want the government to improve the economy to enable Nigerians to have access to the basic necessities of life in order to reduce the rate of depression among the people.
Also, the police in Oyo State have initiated an investigation into the kidnapping of Pastor Olugbenga Olawore of the Redeemed Christian Church of God and 14 others. Olawore and other passengers were abducted from a 14-seater bus along the Lanlate Erua Road in Oyo State on Friday. SP Adewale Oshifeso, the Command Public Relations Officer, confirmed the incident in a text message to the News Agency of Nigeria on Sunday, stating that the investigation is underway. Olawore, currently a pastor at Heaven's Gate Parish, RCCG Lagos Province 73, was returning from Ipapo town after finalizing burial arrangements for his mother, Deaconess Deborah Olawore, scheduled for April 26. Anti-corruption stakeholders have harped on the need for effectiveness in anti-money laundering and combating the financing of terrorism activities in Nigeria. They say although Nigeria has some of the strongest legislations in the world regarding tackling illicit financial flows, limited access to beneficial ownership information and inability to factor in the activities of designated non-financial institutions and businesses in Nigeria, such as bureau de change operators, among others, will slow actions to strengthen the financial regulation system in Nigeria. Take a look.
Speaking during a session to intimate anti-corruption and law enforcement agencies on addressing challenges and enhancing best practices in the reporting of suspicious transactions and activities by designated non-financial businesses and professions, the Nigeria Forensics Intelligence Agency, the NFIU, says until there is a database accessible by all parties involved in tracking illicit financial flows, the challenge of inefficiency remains.
To be a major hindrance, it is going to be a challenge any which way, because at the end of the day, when it comes to AML CFT matters, you have to show effectiveness. And this is where we find ourselves with a little bit of challenge now. We have, I would probably say, some of the best legislation in the world regarding AML CFT. Only recently, we amended a number of our anti-money laundering and CFT acts, the MLPPA, for example, prohibiting money laundering. We've made very laudable steps in that direction, but Obviously, there is still some way to go in that direction, but the NFIU is playing a very important role in terms of collaboration. So we are cooperating with all the ML-CFT stakeholders to ensure that we cross this hurdle. But what we intend to do going forward, we intend to have an accessible database that will be accessed in real time so that these law enforcement agencies like the NDLA can have accurate and timely access to beneficial ownership information. That way, it will ensure that they have speedy investigations and prosecutions.
On terrorism financing and insecurity in Nigeria, Emmanuel Uche, Anti-Corruption Program Manager at International IDEA, says improving reporting and documentation, especially the activities of designated non-financial institutions and businesses, will help strengthen Nigeria's weak financial regulations and track offenders.
The evaluation that was done on Nigeria clearly says that part of the challenges we have in this country, which includes kidnapping, terrorism, insecurity, part of it border on the weak financial regulation system that we have in place. And a sore point in that weak financial regulation system is the activity of the Bureau de Change as a member of the designated non-financial institutions and businesses in Nigeria. We are focusing not only on the BDCs, we are also focusing on every other risky sector, like the hoteliers, like the lawyers who are now more compliant and responding to SCOMUL demands for reporting, like the jewelers, like the car dealers, like the real estate people. So it's in batches. Today's own is targeted at the Bureau de Change people, but the sensitization and engagement is going to continue to the different sectors with the ultimate purpose of ensuring that we increase reporting, documentation of financial flows, particularly those that we think are illicit and suspicious.
They say that although Nigeria is still in the grey list regarding best practices in the implementation of beneficial ownership information requirements, it has made tremendous progress ahead of the next review cycle.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, says its operatives have arrested 3 members of an organized criminal organization which specializes in illicit drug trafficking across Nigeria, South Africa, Mozambique, Europe, and America. This follows the recent seizure of the single largest consignment of heroin at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos. The NDLEA, in a statement signed by its spokesperson Femi Babafemi on Sunday, said the suspects were arrested after over 2 months of being declared wanted. The agency noted that a total of 51.90 kilograms of heroin had been recovered from members of the drug cartel in an operation that began on the 10th of February 2024 at the Sako import shed of the airport's cargo terminal. The NDLEA said that the consignment was concealed in 15 cartons of 2,300 watt metal cutting machines with no less than 45 blocks of the illicit substance weighing 49.70 kilograms recovered from the equipment, while additional 2.2 kilograms was seized at the syndicate's warehouse in Ayubo area of Lagos. The agency added that while it has secured interim forfeiture order on hotel, mansions, vehicles and funds traced to members of the syndicate after arresting 4 of them, a manhunt was also launched for others who went underground. Also, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has urged Nigeria's 36 state governors and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, to provide it with documents on the spending of trillions of FAC allocations received since 1999. SERAP also urged them to invite the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, the ICPC, and Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, to jointly track and monitor the spending of FAC allocations and probe any allegations of corruption linked to the allocations. SERAP's request followed reports that the Federation Account Allocation Committee disbursed 1.123 trillion to the federal, state and local governments for March 2024 alone, with states collecting 398.69 billion naira. Also, Yemi Cardoso, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, has asserted that the bank's recent foreign exchange reforms have positioned the naira as the top-performing currency globally. Despite the naira's previous decline against major currencies, Cardoso emphasized during a briefing at the World Bank IMF spring meeting in Washington, D.C. that the CBN's FX reforms are yielding positive results. However, Cardoso remains cautious and acknowledges the challenges confronting Nigeria's economy, particularly the escalating inflation rate. He stated that the CBN is actively addressing these challenges through various policy reforms aimed at stabilizing the economy and mitigating pressures on multiple fronts. And as part of efforts to enhance multilateral counter-terrorism cooperation and reshape the international community's collective response to terrorism in Africa, the federal government, with the support of the United Nations Office of Counter-Terrorism, will from April 22nd to 23rd organize a high-level summit in Abuja. The summit, under the theme Strengthening Regional Cooperation and Institution Building to Address the Evolving Threat of Terrorism, will also emphasize the importance of African-led and African-owned solutions. A statement from the Special Assistant on Media and Publicity to the President, Ajuri Ngelale, says the summit will provide a platform to review the nature and severity of the threat of terrorism on the continent, with a view to agreeing on a concrete strategic priorities and measures to address this scourge. And away from Nigeria, Palestinian civil defense crews have uncovered a mass grave inside the Nasser Medical Complex in Gaza's Khan Yunis, with 180 bodies recovered so far, as Israel continues bombardment of the devastated coastal enclaves for more than 6 months. The discovery on Saturday and continuing into Sunday comes after the Israeli military withdrew its troops from the southern city on April 7th. Much of the Khan Yunis is now in ruins after months of relentless Israeli bombardment and heavy fighting. In a statement late on Saturday, Palestinian Emergency Services said teams continue their search and retrieval operations for the remaining martyrs in the coming days, as there are still a significant number of them. And finally, in sports, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio has congratulated Nigeria's Tunde Onakoya for setting a new world chess record and etching the country on the global map. Akpabio's congratulatory message was signed by his special advisor on media and publicity, Eseme Eibo, and released on Sunday in Abuja. The Senate President described Onakoya's achievement as a typical one of audacity, of Nigeria's spirit of determination, hard work, and resilience. And finally, the Federal Commissioner of the National Population Commission from Yobe State, Mai Aliyu Muhammad Biriri, has passed away at 82. The Executive Secretary of the Yobe State Pilgrims Commission, Usman Mai Aliyu Biriri, confirmed the development. Biriri, who died on Sunday in Saudi Arabia after a protracted illness, left behind relatives, 9 children, and 1 wife. And that wraps up the news hour on Trust TV. Do well to follow us across all of our social platforms on Facebook, Twitter, X, and also catch our live stream on YouTube for more news programs and documentaries. I'm Sakir Ibrahim. Have a good night.